The distress signal and journey into darkness. Commander Elena Vasquez stood on the bridge of the UES Sovereign, watching the stars drift by through the massive viewport. The ship was humanity's newest and most advanced dreadnought, stretching 3 kilometers from bow to stern. Elena had commanded smaller vessels before, but nothing compared to this floating fortress. At 45 years old, she had grey streaks in her black hair and sharp green eyes that missed nothing. The crew of 2,000 trusted her completely. The Sovereign was on a routine patrol mission along the outer rim of human space. Elena walked between the bridge stations, checking on her officers. Lieutenant Marcus Chen worked at the communications console, his young face focused on the various signals coming through space. Chief Engineer Rosa Martinez monitored the ship's experimental fusion drives from her station. Navigation Officer David Park plotted their course through the star system. Everything seemed peaceful until Marcus suddenly straightened at his console. His dark eyes widened as he stared at his screen. Elena noticed the change immediately and walked over to him. "Commander, I'm picking up something strange on the long-range communications array," Marcus said, his voice tight with concern. "It's not human, but the computer is trying to translate it." Elena felt her pulse quicken. Humanity had contact with several alien species, but most were peaceful traders or distant neighbors. The Kepler Collective sold rare minerals to Earth. The Andorian Republic shared art and music with human colonies. The Zorathian Federation had been humanity's closest allies for 5 years, ever since they helped Earth colonies recover from a devastating plague. "What kind of signal?" Elena asked, moving closer to Marcus's station. "It appears to be a distress call, ma'am. The pattern matches emergency broadcasts, but it's heavily damaged. Lots of interference and background noise." Marcus worked frantically at his controls, trying to clean up the signal. "The computer says it's Zorathian, but something's wrong with it." Elena's stomach dropped. The Zorathians were peaceful, crystal-based beings who looked like tall, elegant humans made of living gems. They glowed with soft inner light and had never been involved in any conflicts. Their technology was advanced, but they used it for healing and art, not warfare. "Put it on the main screen," Elena ordered. The large display at the front of the bridge flickered to life. Strange symbols appeared and disappeared rapidly. The signal was weak and full of static, but there was something desperate about it that made Elena's skin crawl. Marcus continued working to improve the reception. "Got it," Marcus said suddenly. "The translation is coming through now." English words appeared on the screen, and Elena read them aloud to the bridge crew. "Emergency transmission from Zorathian High Command. We are under attack. Repeat, we are under attack. The Vrax horde has invaded our home system. Our defense fleet is being destroyed. Billions of civilians are trapped on the surface. Any friendly species receiving this message, please send help. We cannot hold much longer." The bridge fell silent. Everyone stared at the screen in shock. Elena had heard whispers about the Vrax in intelligence reports, but they had always seemed like distant rumors. They were described as a nomadic warrior race that attacked civilized worlds and consumed everything in their path. "How far is the Zorathian home system?" Elena asked David at navigation. David checked his star charts quickly. 22 light years, Commander. With our quantum drives, we could be there in 4 days if we push hard. Elena thought rapidly. The Zorathians had been true friends to humanity. When human colonies were attacked by space pirates 3 years ago, the Zorathians had sent medical supplies and rescue ships without being asked. They had shared their crystal-growing technology, which helped Earth build better computers and communication devices. Marcus, send a message to Earth Command, Alina decided. Report the distress call and request orders. Yes, ma'am, Marcus replied, working at his console. After a few minutes, he shook her head. Commander, it will take 8 hours for our message to reach Earth, and another 8 hours for a reply. 16 hours total. Alina stared at the Zorathian distress call still playing on the screen. 16 hours might be too long. The gentle crystal beings could all be dead by then. She thought about her teenage son back on Earth, who wanted to join the Space Navy when he graduated. What kind of galaxy did she want to leave for him? One where humans helped their friends, or one where they only looked out for themselves? Chief Engineer Rosa Martinez approached Elena's command chair. Rosa was a small woman with graying hair and hands that were always stained with engine grease. She knew every bolt and wire on the Sovereign. Commander, the quantum drives are ready. For a long jump, Rosa said quietly. We've been testing the new systems for months. They can handle the distance to Zorathian space. What about our weapons and defenses? Elena asked. All systems are operating perfectly. The new plasma torpedo launchers are loaded and ready. Our pulse cannons have full ammunition. The experimental shield generators are the strongest in the fleet. Rosa paused. Ma'am, this ship was built to fight impossible battles. If anyone can help the Zorathians, it's us. Alina looked around the bridge at her officers. Some looked worried, others determined. All of them were waiting for her decision. She opened a ship-wide communication channel. Attention, all crew. This is Commander Vasquez. We have received a distress call from our Zorathian allies. They are under attack by an unknown enemy force. I know this mission is dangerous. I know. We might not come back, but the Zorathians are our friends. They have helped humanity in the past, and now they need our help. Alina paused, looking out at the stars. Anyone who wants to transfer to an escape pod and wait for rescue can do so. There will be no shame in that choice. But I intend to take this ship to Zorathian space and fight alongside our allies. She waited to see if anyone would leave. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Finally, Lieutenant Marcus Chen stood up from his station. Commander, I speak for the communications department. We're with you. One by one, officers from every department voiced their agreement. The entire crew was willing to risk everything to help their alien friends. Very well, Alina said, feeling proud of her people. David, set course for the Zorathian home system. Rosa, give me maximum speed without breaking the ship. All departments, prepare for combat. The Sovereign's massive engines roared to life. The quantum drives began charging for the jump to hyperspace. Alina sat in her command chair and watched the stars ahead. Somewhere out there, peaceful beings were dying while monsters destroyed their worlds. But not if she could help it. The jump to hyperspace felt like falling through liquid starlight. The Sovereign slipped between dimensions, traveling faster than light toward a battle that would test every human on board. Alina spent the 4-day journey preparing her crew for what they might find. In the weapons bay. Gunnery officer Lieutenant Sarah Kim checked the plasma torpedo systems. The Sovereign carried experimental weapons that had never been tested in real combat. Each plasma torpedo could punch through a kilometer of solid metal. The pulse cannons could fire continuously for hours without overheating. In the medical bay, Dr. James Wright prepared for casualties. He had studied Zorathian biology and knew how to treat their crystal-based physiology. His medical team set up emergency surgery stations and prepared equipment for both human and alien patients in engineering. Rosa Martinez fine-tuned the ship's systems for maximum performance. The Sovereign was an experimental vessel with technology that pushed the boundaries of human engineering. The fusion reactors could provide power for days of continuous combat. The shield generators used new magnetic field technology that could deflect almost any known weapon. Asterisk. Throughout the ship, 2,000 crew members prepared for the fight of their lives. They cleaned weapons, checked equipment, and wrote letters to their families back on Earth. Everyone knew they might not survive, but they also knew they were doing the right thing. On the fourth day, the Sovereign dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Zorathian system. Alina gripped her command chair as the ship shuddered from the emergency exit from quantum space. The main screen flickered and then showed the view ahead. What Alina saw made her blood run cold. The space around the Zorathian homeworld was filled with alien ships unlike anything she had ever seen. The Vrax vessels were dark and twisted, like giant insects made of black metal. Some were small and fast, darting through space like mechanical wasps. Others were enormous monsters with weapon ports that glowed red like evil eyes. "Dear God," whispered David Park from the navigation station. The ship's sensors counted the enemy vessels. Over 300 Vrax ships surrounded the Zorathian worlds. The beautiful crystal cities that Alina had seen in diplomatic videos were now dark and burning. Debris from destroyed Zorathian ships floated through space like broken jewelry. "Marcus, are you getting any signals from Zorathian forces?" Alina asked. Marcus worked frantically at his damaged sensors. "Yes, Commander. Very weak signals from behind the system's largest moon. It sounds like Admiral Kristen is still alive, but barely. Put him through." The main screen changed to show a Zorathian face. Admiral Kristen had always been one of the most beautiful beings Alina had ever seen, with crystal features that glowed like captured starlight. Now his inner light was dim and flickering. Cracks spread across his transparent skin from exhaustion and stress. "Human vessel," Kristen said in his musical voice, "you came. We had given up hope." "Admiral, what's your situation?" Alina asked. "Terrible," Kristen replied. "The Vrax arrived with over 400 ships 6 days ago. They destroyed most of our fleet in the first assault. Now they are consuming our worlds like parasites, growing stronger with every life they take." Alina felt sick. "How many ships do you have left?" 43, all damaged. "We have been fighting without rest for days, but we cannot match their numbers or their hunger for destruction." Alina looked at the tactical display. 43 damaged Zorathian ships and 1 human dreadnought against over 300 enemy vessels. The odds were impossible, but she had not come this far to give up. "Admiral, can your ships still fight?" Kristen's crystal face showed determination despite his exhaustion. "We will fight until we die, Commander. But you must understand what you face. The Vrax do not just conquer, they consume entire civilizations. Every being they kill makes them stronger. We understand the risk, Admiral. Gather your ships. We're going in." As the Sovereign prepared for battle, Alina thought about her son back on Earth. She hoped that someday he would live in a galaxy where good people helped each other, where bullies didn't win just because they were strong. The coming fight would determine whether such a galaxy was possible. Asterisk, the battle for Zorathian freedom. The Vrax fleet noticed the Sovereign immediately. Alina watched on the main screen as dozens of the dark alien ships turned toward them like predators sensing prey. The enemy vessels moved in ways that seemed impossible, twisting and writhing through space as if they were alive. "All hands, battle." "Stations," Alina commanded. Throughout the ship, alarm bells rang as 2,000 crew members ran to their combat positions. Weapons powered up, shields activated, and the Sovereign transformed from an exploration vessel into a weapon of war. "Vrak ships are moving to intercept," reported David Park. "Their formation suggests they want to surround us before we can reach the Zorothian survivors." Alina studied the tactical display. The enemy was trying to use their numbers to overwhelm her single ship. It was smart tactics, but she had advantages they didn't know about. The Sovereign had been built specifically to fight against overwhelming odds. "Rosa, give me all power to forward shields and weapons," Alina ordered. "We're going straight through their formation." "Understood, Commander. All non-essential systems are shutting down. You'll have maximum combat power for approximately 6 hours. Alina opened a channel to Admiral Kristin. "Admiral, I need you to do something for me. When we engage the enemy, take your ships and attack their rear formation. Hit them hard and fast, then retreat. We need to split their attention." Kristin's image nodded on the screen. "It will be done, Commander. My remaining ships will follow. You'll lead." The first Vrax vessels reached weapons range. They were sleek predators, about the size of human destroyers, covered in weapon ports that glowed with malevolent energy. Alina could see their alien markings and strange organic curves that made them look more grown than built. "Enemy ships opening fire," announced Serakim from weapons control. The Vrax weapons were unlike anything in human military databases. Instead of energy beams or missiles, they fired streams of dark matter that tried to eat through the Sovereign's shields. Where the attacks hit, reality seemed to bend and twist in unnatural ways. "Shields holding at 90%, Rosa reported. "Their weapons are strange, but our new magnetic barriers are deflecting most of the damage." "Return fire," Alina commanded. The Sovereign's plasma torpedo launchers spoke with voices of thunder. Brilliant white projectiles shot across space and struck the nearest Vrax ships. The alien vessels exploded in balls of fire and strange green vapor that dissipated quickly in the vacuum. "Direct hits on 4 enemy ships," Sarah reported with satisfaction. "All targets destroyed. But more Vrax ships were coming. Many more. They swarmed around the Sovereign like angry insects, attacking from all directions at once. The human dreadnought was powerful, but it was still just one ship against hundreds. "Hull breach on Deck 12, came a damage report over the intercom. "Something is eating through our armor plating." Alina gritted her teeth. The Vrax weapons didn't just damage ships, they infected them with some kind of destructive force that kept spreading. Damage control teams respond, seal off the affected areas and vent them to space if necessary. The Sovereign pushed deeper into the enemy formation, its pulse cannons firing continuously. Each shot sent streams of superheated plasma across space, punching through Vrax armor like it was paper. The experimental weapons were performing better than anyone had hoped. "Admiral Kristin is beginning his attack," Marcus reported. "The Zorathian ships are hitting the enemy rear guard." On the tactical display, Alina could see the surviving Zorathian vessels moving like a school of crystal fish. They were outnumbered, 20-1, but they fought with desperate courage. Their energy weapons created beautiful light shows as they carved through Vrax formations. "The Zorothians are drawing off about 50 enemy ships," David observed. That's helping, but we still face overwhelming numbers. Alina made a decision that would have shocked her superiors back on Earth. Sarah, prepare the Nova torpedoes. Sarah's eyes widened. Nova torpedoes were experimental weapons that contained miniature suns. Each one could destroy multiple ships, but they were incredibly dangerous to use. Commander, we've never tested those in combat. The energy release could damage our own ship. I know the risks. Prepare 3 torpedoes for firing. The Sovereign shook as more Vrak's weapons struck its hull. Sparks flew from control panels as the ship's systems strained under the assault. Alina could hear the groaning of metal as the alien attacks ate through their armor. Shields down to 60%. Rosa called out, "We're taking heavy damage, but the ship will hold together." A massive Vrak's battleship moved to block their path. It was easily twice the size of the Sovereign, covered in weapon batteries and armor that looked like living scales. As Alina watched, it opened fire with a beam weapon that turned space itself into a burning tunnel of destruction. Evasive maneuvers. Alina shouted David threw the Sovereign into a spiraling dive that would have torn apart a smaller ship. The Vrak's beam missed by mere kilometers, but Alina could feel the heat wash through the bridge. If that weapon had connected, it would have cut their ship in half. Nova torpedoes ready, Sarah reported. Fire all 3 at the battleship. 3 points of brilliant light shot from the Sovereign's forward tubes. The Nova torpedoes streaked toward the massive Vrak's vessel at incredible speed. The enemy ship tried to intercept them with defensive fire, but the torpedoes were too fast and too small. They struck the Vrak's battleship's center section and disappeared inside its armor. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the alien vessel exploded from the inside out, creating a miniature star that lasted for several seconds. The explosion was so intense that nearby Vrak ships were damaged by the radiation. Enemy battleship destroyed, Sarah announced. But we've got more problems. The remaining Vrak ships are concentrating their fire on us. Alina looked at the tactical display and saw their situation clearly. The Sovereign had destroyed dozens of enemy ships, but hundreds remained. Worse, the Vraks seemed to be learning from their tactics. They were coordinating their attacks better, focusing their fire on weak points in the human ship's defenses. Commander, Marcus called out urgently. I'm getting a priority message from Admiral Kristen. The Zorathian leader's image appeared on screen. He looked even more exhausted than before, with new cracks spreading across his crystal features. Commander Vasquez, we have discovered something important. The Vrak ships are controlled by 3 command vessels hidden behind our outer planets. If we can destroy those ships, the rest of their fleet will lose coordination. Alina felt a spark of hope. Where are these command ships? 2 are positioned behind our gas giant. The 3rd is hiding in our asteroid belt. They have been directing the battle from safety while their warriors do the fighting. It was typical coward behavior, Alina thought. The Vraks were bullies who let others do their dying while they stayed safe. Admiral, can your ships reach those command vessels? Not without going through the entire enemy fleet. We would be destroyed. Before getting close, Alina made another impossible decision. Then we'll go get them. Kristen, pull your ships back to defensive positions around your homeworld. Protect the civilians. The Sovereign will handle the command ships. Commander, that is suicide. You cannot fight through their entire fleet alone. Watch us. Alina turned to her crew. All hands, this is the commander. We're going to attack the enemy command ships. This will be the most dangerous part of our mission. but it's also our best chance to save the Zorathian people. Every person on this ship volunteered to be here. Now let's show these bullies what humans do when our friends are in danger. The Sovereign turned away from the main battle and accelerated toward the gas giant where two of the command ships were hiding. The move surprised the Vraks, who had expected the human ship to retreat or die fighting where it was. Enemy ships are pursuing, David reported. About 100 vessels are following us away from the main fleet. Good, Alina said grimly. That's 100 ships that won't be attacking Zorathian civilians. The chase across the solar system became a running battle. The Sovereign fired its rear weapons at pursuing Vraks ships while racing toward its target. Several enemy vessels exploded, but others kept coming. The human dreadnought was faster than most Vrak ships, but some of their smaller vessels were catching up. Commander, we're approaching the gas giant, David announced. Sensors are detecting two large Vraks vessels in orbit around the planet. Alina could see them on the main screen. The command ships were enormous, each one larger than anything else in the Vraks fleet. They looked like floating fortresses covered in armor and weapon systems. Between them, they probably carried enough firepower to destroy entire planets. Sarah, prepare all remaining Nova torpedoes. We're going to hit both ships simultaneously. Commander, we only have 4 Nova torpedoes left. If this doesn't work, it has to work. The Sovereign dove toward the gas giant, using the planet's gravity to increase its speed. The 2 Vraks command ships detected the human vessel and began firing. Their weapons were more powerful than anything Alina had seen before, turning space around them into a storm of destructive energy. Shields down to 30%. Rosa reported. We can't take much more of this fire, Nova torpedoes. 4 miniature suns shot toward the command ships. The Vraks vessels tried desperately to shoot down the incoming weapons, but they were too close and the torpedoes were too fast. The weapons struck both targets almost simultaneously. The explosions lit up the entire gas giant. 2 artificial stars bloomed in space as the command ships died. The energy release was so intense that some of Elena's bridge instruments overloaded from the radiation. Both command ships destroyed, Sarah confirmed. And look at the tactical display. Alina looked and felt her heart leap with joy throughout. The solar system, Vrak ships were stopping their attacks and milling around in confusion. Without their command vessels to coordinate them, the alien fleet was falling apart. The 3rd command ship, Alina said quickly. Where is it? In the asteroid belt, David replied. But Commander, look at the enemy fleet. They're starting to retreat. Alina watched as dozens of Vrak ships began moving away from Zorathian space. The aliens were abandoning their invasion now that their leadership was destroyed. But she knew that if even one command ship escaped, the Vraks could return with reinforcements. We finished the job, Alina decided. David, set course for the asteroid belt. Sarah, how many weapons do we have left? Plasma torpedoes are down to 20%. Pulse cannons are running low on ammunition. But we still have the main particle beam. The particle beam was the Sovereign's most powerful weapon, designed to crack open asteroids for mining operations. It had never been used in combat, but was out of conventional options. The journey to the asteroid belt took 2 hours. The Sovereign was heavily damaged, with hull breaches on multiple decks and several weapon systems offline. But the crew kept working, making repairs and preparing for one final battle. The 3rd Vraks command ship was hiding deep in the asteroid field, using the space rocks as cover. It was the largest of the 3, a massive fortress that looked like It could survive anything humanity could throw at it. Target acquired, Sarah reported. But it's positioned behind a cluster of large asteroids. We can't get a clear shot with conventional weapons. Alina smiled grimly. Then we'll make our own clear shot. Sarah, charge the main particle beam. David, plot a course that takes us straight through those asteroids. Commander, the particle beam wasn't designed for combat. We don't know what will happen if we fire it at an enemy ship. We're about to find out. The Sovereign moved into the asteroid field, weaving between space rocks the size of mountains. The Vrak's command ship detected them and began firing, using the asteroids as cover while trying to destroy the human vessel. Steady as she goes, Alina commanded. Wait until we have a perfect shot. The massive Vrak's fortress filled their view screen. Alina could see weapon ports opening all along its hull, preparing to unleash devastating firepower at point-blank range. Fire particle beam. A stream of pure energy shot from the Sovereign's main cannon. The beam was so powerful that it vaporized several asteroids in its path before striking the Vrak's command ship. The alien vessel's shields flared and died. Its armor began to melt. Then the beam punched completely through the ship from bow to stern. The Vrak's command ship exploded in a chain reaction that lit up the entire asteroid belt. Chunks of alien metal and technology scattered in all directions. The last enemy commander was dead. All Vrak's command ships destroyed, Sarah announced. Enemy fleet is in full retreat. Alina slumped in her command chair, suddenly feeling exhausted. They had done it, against impossible odds. 1 human ship and 43 Zorathian vessels had defeated an invasion fleet of over 300. Enemy ships. Marcus, open a channel to Admiral Kristen. The Zorathian leader appeared on screen, and Alina was amazed by the change in him. His crystal features were glowing brightly again, and the cracks in his skin were already beginning to heal. Commander Vasquez Kristen said, his musical voice filled with emotion. You have saved our entire civilization. How can we ever repay such a debt? Alina smiled. Admiral, friendship isn't about keeping score. You helped humanity when we needed it. We helped you when you needed it. That's what allies do. Kristen nodded slowly. Then let us be allies forever. The Zorathian Federation formally requests a permanent military alliance with Earth. Together, we can protect this galaxy from threats like the Vraks. I'll recommend approval to Earth Command, Alina replied. I think they'll agree. As the Sovereign began its journey home, Alina looked out at the stars and felt proud of what her crew had accomplished. They had proven that humans would stand up for their friends, even against impossible odds. They had shown that courage and determination could overcome brute force and cruelty. The galaxy was a little bit safer, because good people had decided to do the right thing. And somewhere out there, other peaceful species would sleep better knowing that Earth and Zoratha would stand together against the darkness. The Sovereign jumped into hyperspace, carrying news of victory back to a grateful galaxy. The age of human Zorathian cooperation had begun, and the universe would never be the same. Asterisk.